Thank you. Chair Murkowski, Vice Chair Schatz, Senator Mullen, and distinguished members of the committee, on behalf of Senator Budd, myself, and members of the North Carolina congressional delegation, I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak in support of the Lumbee Fairness Act. This issue has come before Congress many times over the decades, but never with this level of unity and support. These days, it's rare to see Republicans and Democrats come together on anything. But when it comes to Lumbee recognition, the support is overwhelming, and it's bipartisan. We're talking about support from President Donald J. Trump, President Biden, Vice President J.D. Vance, former Vice President Kamala Harris, Governor Josh Stein, the North Carolina General Assembly, and nearly every member of our state's congressional delegation. Here in the Senate, nearly 24 members from both parties have co-sponsored the Lumbee Fairness Act, including Senator Schatz and Senator Mullen, who sit together on this very committee. And maybe most remarkable, more than 235 federally recognized tribes who have stood with the Lumbee people, including the Alaska Federation of Natives, representing 186 tribes and corporations. I also want to offer my special thanks to President Benjamin Mollett and former President Julie Kitka for their unwavering support, unsolicited and unwavering support. This kind of unity is rare. It proves that fairness for the Lumbee Tribe isn't partisan. It's simply the right thing to do. The Lumbee's history is long and well documented. They were recognized by the state of North Carolina in 1885 and began seeking federal recognition just 3 years later. That was 137 years ago. During the 20th century, the Lumbee were among the dozens of victims of the Termination Era, one of the darkest periods in federal Indian policy. In 1956, Congress passed the Lumbee Act. It acknowledged the tribe but cruelly denied them the benefits and the recognition that every other tribe receives. The federal government has since worked to correct the grave injustices of the Termination Era for nearly every single tribe, except for the Lumbee. Time and again, the Lumbee have proven their case. The records are filled with testimonies, studies, and reports that all lead to one conclusion. The Lumbee are a tribe fully deserving of federal recognition. The House has acknowledged that repeatedly, passing Lumbee recognition with broad bipartisan support in every Congress since the 116th. This year, it was unanimously included in the House-passed NDAA without a single voice of opposition. In 2022, I promised to identify and expose the small but persistent opposition to this bill. I've done that homework. What I've found is simple. A small handful of well-funded tribes hiring high-priced D.C. lobbyists to spin half-truths and stir fear, motivated by profit, not principle. At the center of that opposition is the Eastern Band of the Cherokee Indians, who I assume you'll hear from today, and their constituents of North Carolina and their lead advisor, William Pipestem. Plain and simple, their opposition is rooted in financial self-interest. And that's their right. But let's not pretend it's anything more than that. The Eastern Band has opposed nearly every recognition effort in their geographic vicinity that might affect their financial interest. They even tried to block the Catawba Tribe's land and trust application and lost, something I also supported. Now they're running the same playbook against the Lumbee. They're spending millions of dollars on lobbyists and pay-for-play reports that have been discredited and condemned by the National Congress of the American Indians. It's disappointing to see this kind of money wasted on tearing down other tribes instead of lifting up their own people. However, the lobbying has failed. The ship has already sailed, and it's headed full speed towards Lumbee recognition. Today, you'll hear the same tiring talking points, that this is somehow sets a bad precedent, that Congress should sit back and just let the Interior Department handle it. That argument doesn't hold water. Recognition through Congress is the precedent. It is the norm. Since 1978, twice as many tribes have been recognized by Congress as through the administrative process. Congress has recognized tribes by legislation many times, including the Little Shell Tribe of the Chippewa Indians in the FY22 NDAA and 6 Virginia tribes in 2017. I supported both because it was the right thing to do. Next month will mark 25 years since Congress passed legislation to grant the Shawnee Tribe full federal recognition. So, when people say Congress shouldn't act, what they really mean is Congress shouldn't act when they don't like the outcome. I invite anyone with doubts to visit Robeson County, Hope County, or Scotland County. Go to the University of North Carolina at Pembroke, founded by and for the Lumbee people. You'll see the rich Lumbee culture, their deep roots in North Carolina, and their extraordinary contributions to our state and our nation. You'll find a community defined by pride and resilience and service. Educators, first responders, healthcare professionals, small business owners, and farmers. And situated just miles from Fort Bragg, the largest military installation in the world, you'll meet countless Lumbees and veterans who have served our country honorably and for generations. They've done everything this nation has ever asked of them, and all they ask in return is fairness. I do know one leader who's visited Robeson County and has stood with the Lumbee people, and that's President Trump. Just 3 days into a second term, President Trump made it the official policy of the United States government to support full federal recognition of the Lumbee Tribe. That includes access to every federal benefit that they've earned, and now is the time for Congress to act. The Lumbee people have waited long enough. They don't ask for special treatment, only fair treatment. They've earned and deserve full federal recognition, and to my friends and colleagues on this committee, I hope you understand just how important this is. Not only to the Lumbee Tribe and the people of North Carolina, but to me personally. Madam Chair, I'm about to wrap it up. I know I'm over time, but I really need to emphasize what personal means to me. I became Speaker in 2011, and shortly after I became Speaker, I met none other than the now Chief. He was Principal Chief at the time, left and is back, Michell Hicks. He came in to tell me the story about the Cherokee and how they needed a negotiated compact, a new compact. And I told the chief at the time, I said, I need to study this, but quite honestly, I'm embarrassed to say I don't know much about your story in North Carolina. So I took time to figure out that story. And this bill and that study and the right that I wanted the wrong that I wanted to fix there was embodied in a bill that was passed by none other than me, and it's the only bill in the entire time I was Speaker of the House that I allowed to go to the floor that did not have a Republican majority vote. And thankfully, Congressman Tim Moore, who was my rules chair at the time, was able to shepherd this through and create a transformational result for the Eastern Band of the Cherokee. Now, 2 years later, I discovered the Lumbee Tribe, and I realized that they were working hard to maintain their culture and to do everything that they could if they were to go through the administrative process to prove that they'd done the homework, which is why I signed another bill making sure that their cultural heritage could be maintained and continue to go through the process that they were prepared to go through. But the defect in the statutes is going to prevent this from happening. The only way this happens is through federal recognition and through an act of Congress. So, Madam Chair, I appreciate your leadership, and I've appreciated your friendship in the 10 and a half years, almost 11 years that I've been here. But when I tell you it's personal to me, it's because it's an injustice that needs to be righted. I look forward to your serious consideration, and I look forward to listening to the testimony. Thank you.